Hey, what is up YouTube? Kolst here, and we are back with Twitch chat as well. We're going through all of the classes for Festival of Legends, the new expansion coming out on April 11th, I believe is the day, right? So we are on Paladin now. Let's get right into it. The first one we have here is Disco Mall. 2 mana 2/2 weapon with Death Rattle. Give a random friendly minion +1/+1. Play minions while equipped to improve by default. A 2 mana 2/2 weapon is not great, but not even terrible, but you're also getting +1/+1 immediately, but you're almost always going to be able to get more. You have to play them, it's not summoned, so you can't just summon like a whole bunch of dudes or hero power, just buff this a bunch, but it doesn't need to do much, and you're going to always have the option to just keep this equipped for a long time, potentially, right? Unless your opponent removes it, and then, you know, you'll choose to use this when you have a minion, and then you can buff it and it can go face and stuff. This is, what's funny is that Warrior's getting their new weapon, but this is just like so much better, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is just the potential to just, I mean, you can literally just one-shot your opponent after, like, you keep this equipped for like 6 turns, and then you just, I mean, you're getting like a dino size for free, basically. It just seems quite insane. So yeah, just insanely powerful card. Next up, we have Spotlight. 2 mana holy spell with tradable, convert a friendly divine shield into a 5/5 elemental. So the way this actually works, like, it actually removes the divine shield from your minion. It has to be your minion, you can't use it on enemies, can you imagine? But it actually removes it and then turns it in, you just summon a 5/5 elemental on the side. There are times where a divine shield might actually be better than a 5/5. You know, if it's on a big minion, you get to eat another big minion, but most of the time, you'd probably rather have a 5/5. So you can use this against like a ping class to say, okay, oh, here's my Annoyatron or whatever. Oh, instead of just getting uselessly pinged off, I get a 5/5. That's pretty good potentially, right? But it is a bit conditional because you have to actually have a Divine Shield, which you don't always have that many of, but it has the saving grace that it has tradable. So it's always at least just going to be tradable away. So that makes it better than a lot of cards. So overall, it's going to be one of those things you probably, unless you just really want a tradable might just be the best option, but you know, you really just wouldn't value this super highly unless you have just a whole bunch of divine shields on little minions that you would actually want to use this on. If it did not have tradable, it would be pretty close to unpickable, but because it has tradable, it's okay, right? Next up, we have Boogie Down. 3 mana holy spell, summon 2 1-cost minions from your deck. Finale, give them taunt. So this is a deck thinner, which is nice, right? But I mean, you're drawing and summoning 2 1-cost minions. Like, that is good, but still, like, it's, I mean, it's tempo negative, right? You're only getting 2 costs worth of minions. Giving them taunt just doesn't seem that important on 1-cost minions, right? It's annoying. I don't know, like, there aren't even any 1-cost minions in this set right now, so like, it's nice because it removes the 1-cost minions from your deck. That's the nice thing, and it does it in a kind of like tempo efficient way because you're getting effective draws. You can imagine it's like 1 mana draw 2 and then you play them immediately. It's fine, right? Like, it's actually not terrible, but you know, it is still just tempo negative, and the big risk of it, once again, is that you don't always have that many 1-drops, so you just aren't even going to get it always. It's a big risk that you're just not always going to actually have, you know, the 1-drops, right? Yeah, that's true. Night of Annoyment, anti-synergy for sure. You want to have overstrat 1-drops, which you just don't have that many of, right? I guess just, it would be one of those things where if you just happen to have one overstrat 1-drops, that would make it pretty nice. What's funny is that, like, the finale gives them taunt, but then, like, you'd really want to be pulling, like, Argent not Argent Protectors, Argent whatever the other thing is. The 1/1 Divine Shield taunts, but then they have taunt anyway, so it's just a little weird. It's not terrible, but it's just, it's a little weird. Next up, we have Funk Fin. 3 mana 2/2 Divine Shield Murloc. With text, your minions with Divine Shield have +2 attack. So this starts as a 4/2 Divine Shield, effectively. It buffs all your other Divine Shields. Pretty nice. But then once it loses Divine Shield, it goes down to a 2/2. So it's not quite as good as a 4/2 Divine Shield. A 4/2 Divine Shield is still, at this point, I'd say pretty darn good. As a curve play, at least. But, you know, you would really want this. So you would take it for that sometimes. But it's a bit worse because it loses the stats after losing Divine Shield. You would really want this with other Divine Shields, and you're not going to have that many Divine Shields most of the time, right? You already have, you know, Buffet Bacon or whatever. it's helpful, right? But overall, it seems fine, right? Oh yeah, oh my god, imagine if Buckler was still in the game. Buckler's rotating out, that's good to know, yeah. Because that would be insane, right? This thing turning into a free Savage War. You do have ways to give Divine Shield and stuff in Paladin, so there's obviously some potential there. And if you have that, you'd value this a lot more. Without any synergy though, you just wouldn't value this super high, but it's a solid card. You pick it as a 3-drop sometimes, right? It's not terrible. Moving on, we have Starlight Groove, 3 mana, legendary holy spell. Give your hero Divine Shield. For the rest of the game, playing a holy spell refreshes it. So I mean, this is a little weird because it's, I mean, I guess it's like, potentially this could be like 3 mana, prevent like 100 damage, right? But a lot of the time, it's just not going to do that much. And you would imagine this is probably not much better than like an Ice Barrier or something. You need to actually have holy spells, and like you can have some holy spells. You'll probably have some, but like how many are you realistically going to have anyway? Right, it'd be like one of those things. I feel like you're just never going to draft this, and this would be one of those things where once in a blue moon you might actually discover it, because it just happens you happen to be not against a ping class, and then it might actually prevent a significant amount of damage. You can use it almost like a because if you just happen to not be able to deal with an 8/8 or something, you could deal with it essentially by just having this, right? It's one of those things you're never going to actually draft, and it'd be very rare you discover it, but it does work with weapons, that's true, but yeah, it's just a little weird. Next up, we have a Jitterbug. 4 mana 4/3 beast with Divine Shield. After a friendly character loses Divine Shield, draw a card. So, I mean, that's pretty nice. A 4 mana 4/3 Divine Shield, how good is that? It's better if it has Brush, obviously. That's definitely a little, I don't think that's very good anymore by default, but obviously, I mean, unless this thing gets silenced or something, you draw a card. So I think it wouldn't really be worth it just as a 4/3 Divine Shield, but the fact that it also draws a card makes it very good. So, and you have the potential that, you know, you have other Divine Shields. You could remove your own Divine Shield with that spell or whatever. You can trade off any of them. And then you get multiple card draws potentially. So yeah, but I mean, by default, 4 mana 4/3 Divine Shield, draw a card is already very good. And then the potential to just draw more cards for free, essentially, it makes it insanely good. So this is a very powerful card. I mean, this is like auto pick basically, right? So with that, we move on to Harmonic Disco. This is a 5 mana holy spell. Discover a 5-cost minion, summon it with +1/+1. And it swaps with the dissonant form, which is discover a 1-cost minion, summon it with +5/+5. If you used it in this form, a lot of times it's just going to be like, I guess it'd be a slightly overstated 5-drop. You could obviously try to hit the 1/1 Divine Shield taunt, and then it's pretty nice. You're getting a 5 mana 6/6 Divine Shield, that's pretty cool. But not too much you're really going to hope for there. And this one, you're getting a 5-cost minion. I don't know what you're really hoping for on 5-cost, frankly. Nothing jumps to my mind as like what would even be an insane high roll. I guess like because you're discovering a 5-cost, like you'll get something good, right? This will be like slightly overstated most of the time. So it's a solid card, you'll draft it. Doesn't seem amazing. 1 mana minion. Yeah, as you mentioned, like I guess this is better because you have the Divine Shield taunt high roll. And on average, a 1-cost minion does just have better stats. But 5-cost minions have better effects. I want to say like you're more likely to hit like a good Death Rattle minion or something off of 5-cost than you are 1-cost. So I'm not even sure which one's better. They're both like just, you're going to get a little bit more than you would expect for 5 mana, right? So I think either way, you're probably just not going to care that much. You're just going to play whichever. And both forms are fine. There's upsides to both, as I mentioned, like better effects here, but potentially better stats here. Probably better stats on average here. So, you know, it's fine. Like you'll draft it because it's a good 5-drop, basically. It's kind of what it comes down to. Next up, we have Kangor, Dancing King. 5 mana 3/3 lifesteal, Death Rattle. Swap this with a minion from your hand and give it lifesteal. Why? I mean, yeah, you really want to use this. This is a big Paladin type of card, right? You'd want to be able to cheat out a big minion out of your hand. It is kind of like an alarm robot in that way, right? You get a giant minion with lifesteal, so there's potential there. But I mean, it's random. It's not like it swaps with the biggest cost minion in your hand or whatever. It's not even that sticky though, because like you know, if you don't have a minion, this dies, right? This just dies then if you don't have any minions left in hand. So like it's not permanent either. And you're playing a 5-mana 3/3, at least it has life steal, so it helps you not die. But like you're playing a 5-mana 3/3, it's just a little bit I guess it does have death rattle summon a minion. So I might honestly, maybe I am just completely understating this. Maybe it's a lot better than I think. It's just weird. Like you have to dump out all the small stuff out of your hand, but it has life steal. Honestly, I think the more I think about it, it's like this actually isn't that bad. You can always trade it off because it only has 3 health, so you're always gonna be able to trade it off. I still hesitate to say it's good. It's not that hard to make work. I actually think it's probably an above average card. You need a lot better than a 3/3 because, like, you know, Cairn is a 6-mana 5/5 that summons a 5/5, and that's not even that good anymore. Like, you need a pretty good card to make this justify it. The same way that the weapon kind of worked in Arena, it was a pretty good card. This is kind of like the same thing. It still might be worse than the weapon maybe, but I guess like the fact that it heals you instead of like making you take damage, like I actually think it's fine, but it's a little niche, right? But it's still, anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on one card. So let's move on. Well, 6-mana 4/2 Lead Dancer. Death Rattle, summon a minion from your deck with less attack than this minion. What? Terrible. Move on. I don't know what you're really expecting to do with this. Good with the 9-drop? Oh, this is a Death Rattle. I guess, yeah, this is what you expect to do with it, right? The thing is that you just have 1-drops and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, this is like a very specific constructed combo. Like, yeah, I mean, this is just like a no, you'll never take this. Next! Annoy Troop, the card that could potentially make that last card work sometimes. Because this is a 9-mana 3/6 max with Taunt and Divine Shield with Death Rattle. I thought this was a battle cry, but it's actually Death Rattle, so that's why it would work with the other thing. Summon 3 1/2 max with Taunt and Divine Shield, and yes, those are Annoyatrons. It's the most unbelievably annoying thing ever. It's basically Paladin Voidlord, yes. So yeah, I mean, this is like an unbelievable thing. The thing is, because this has Death Rattle, though, it's very, very unbelievably vulnerable to silence, right? Which makes it a little bit risky, but assuming it doesn't get silenced, your opponent's not going to be able to hit you or any of your other minions in the face for a very, very long time after you play this. Because, I mean, how many hits is that? Like, it requires them to have 8 hits to get through this, right? Divine Shield, 6 damage, 3 more Divine Shields, 3 more, like, it's just... And even if they have AoE to make it slightly better, like, I mean, that's just unbelievably difficult to get through, right? It's probably insanely powerful, because if it gets silenced, you're going to lose. But, man, like, if they don't have silence, they kind of just lose too, right? Because that just takes so much to get through, and it's... I guess if you're really, really losing, it's not going to, like, exactly save you, but, man, like, you know, if you have a board and you're pushing, you play this, like, your opponent dies, because they just can't deal with any of your other minions. Yeah, it's just a lot. Again, risky because of its vulnerability to silence, but it's just going to be so strong that you're going to take it, I think. It's so absurd. And there's these other ways to potentially cheat it out of your either hand or deck, so pretty strong. That's it for this review. Appreciate everyone hanging out here on Twitch, but also on YouTube. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all these things. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.